Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Trade Talks Live. I am your host today, Henry Wakefield, running solo in the mothership. Happy Taco Tuesday, everybody. Welcome to the Trade Talks. If it's your first time here, thanks for showing up. We hang out here, we talk trades for an hour. Usually Roger's with me, but not today. He's still flying in a plane, I'm pretty sure. He may pop in later. There's no telling. We'll see. He's headed up to Skills USA. Go check those guys out and watch them compete. So going to be pretty cool. We would like to thank the main sponsor of the show, Leak Pro, for sponsoring today's episode of the Trade Talks. They build the most precise leak detection system for professional plumbers. And I always suggest checking out the complete kit. It's a business in a box. You can find that at www.leak-pro.com. But also, if you want to learn how to do leak detection and how to promote it in your area, give us a call at 1-8888-LEAK-PRO. I run a 2-day training here where I'll walk you through every aspect of that. So give us a call. Everybody, it's Tuesday, man. Roger headed up to Skills USA. It's going to be a good time up there. I hope everybody's doing great this wonderful Tuesday morning. Let's go ahead. We will cruise into the show and starting out with some national news. So the Labor Department has ruled on apprenticeship expansion. Okay. Now what this is going to do is this is going to expand registered apprenticeship access beyond construction trades to IT, advanced manufacturing, and healthcare with federal funding tied to diversity and underrepresented groups. Okay, and why is this going to matter, guys? Is it's going to broaden the eligibility and create new funding streams for contractors. More funding streams for contractors, guys. This is going to help. You can start putting in some different apprenticeship programs in to order to train the new guys coming in and get funded for some of that. Small shops can apply to host apprentices and earn federal stipend support. So get out there, start doing some different trainings, things like that, and help these guys out. It'll be pretty nice. But a lot of things, for apprenticeships, like you've got the model, you've got classroom time, X amount, field hours, X amount, and the mentorship. That's going to equal your journey person stature, everything that builds them up. A good stat here, 75% of apprentices stay with the employer who trained them. Okay. And that's per the U.S. Department of Labor. And guys, whenever you are first getting into the trade, that first employer, they're going to teach you. You're going to learn their ways of doing things. Whenever you learn their ways, it's good. It's also good to go out and learn other ways also, though, because times are changing a little bit. Loyalty's changed a little. I worked in the union, for 20 years. I worked at one company for 13 of those years. That's great. I was a pretty loyal employee. It was one of the companies with the best safety programs, things like that. So there was a big reason why I really wanted to stay with that employer. But you're going to learn that there's a lot of different ones out there that are going to treat their employees different also. So get out there and explore some different things also. But if your shop has at least one journeyman, you can qualify. So contact your local AJC, the American Job Center, to get started on this and see how you can get funded to host some apprentices. You can build some small training things just to kind of give them an idea of what it's like to do your trade, whatever that trade is. Whether it's roofing, carpentry, plumbing, electrical, whatever, give them a little hands-on demonstration somewhere so that you can actually teach them some of the basic things that they need to know, and not just for one trade. Teach them what level is, what square means, things like that, how to use a tape measure, some of the basics, but people need to know. And that's a good way to get funded to be able to do these things and keep everything going. We'll go ahead and move it over here to the bottom line. And bundling services. Okay. This is huge. It's a good thing to offer instead of just, we talk about it a lot with Dad being a plumber. It's okay. I can come in, I can work in the wall and do all the plumbing and stuff, but you're going to have to find your own sheetrocker. You're going to have to find somebody to come and patch that wall, fix the things. Tile, if we got to tear into the tile to redo some things because we can't access it from the backside, you're going to have to find a tile guy to come out here. You can kind of start to bundle some things. Or even if you're doing leak detection. Okay, I'm going to do the leak detection, but I'm also going to do a pressure test and give you a report on everything that I found. Just to, instead of just the leak fix, $150, $275, we offer all these extras that help back up and show that everything is fixed. It's got all your documentation and all this stuff. But honestly, it's not a lot different than anything you're already going to do there. So, but bundling it, it's going to make that higher value be shown. A lot of the customer psychology here is it simplifies decision making. Okay. If you do 3-pack framing, it encourages purchase. Okay. Look, it's all in one. Everything's in this price. If you want it all done today, boom. Or here's this just little part in this piece of it. But if you package it all together, they perceive the value. It's shown more. They know you are the one to go to get it all handled. And that's going to be a good thing for you. Also reduces price objection by making the value obvious that they're getting there. It's a lot of things that we do in a lot of different places. That's the key. You've got to sell that value. I think Dad and them, they call it value stacking. Stack that value more so that the customer sees everything they're getting, and they're not going to argue with that price much. It's going to be like, oh yeah, no, give me that one. Good, better, and best. If you can offer that, look, this only has this part. This has a couple things. Oh, but this is everything done, handled for you. They're typically going to go for that. Everything done, handled for you. Good example here. One company reported a 23% increase in the AOV, the average order value. And 23% increase on an average order value, that's a lot. After bundling diagnostics into a maintenance trip. Okay. And that's one of the big things is whenever you're actually going out doing some different things, maintaining, do that inspection. Sell that value that they're going to get for you going ahead and checking it out because it's going to help prevent damages in the future. So you can do a lot of different ones. Like that's why, at Leak Pro, we try to put the right tools in the plumber's hands. So it's not like, oh, let me get this leak detection guy to come out and locate this leak. No, we're plumbers. Here's what we want to do. We want to locate the leak. We want to go ahead and fix the leak and get everything turned back on in normal operation. We'll test it. We'll document it. We'll do everything even after we fix it so that you've got proof for your insurance company if you ever need it in the future. And bundling that all together in one price is better for that customer in the long run. Now, with leak detection, you got to put some clauses in there, about how many leaks you're fixing, where, and things like that, because first you got to find it and know where it's at to be able to go a little bit further. But that's the key to it, is have it all bundled together the best you can and set the boundaries, the inclusions, the exclusions, and things like that. We talk about that a lot on here because we're talking the bottom line here. You don't want to mess it up. You want to charge right, but you also want that customer to feel the savings and see the value that they're actually gaining by bundling things up. And it's good for both parties. It increases your revenue. It gets more things done in one stop for them to get them closer to that solution. So that's a pretty good one. So let's move on in here to safety. Extension cords on scaffolding. Okay, now this is a big one I've seen so many times, especially being a pipe fitter. I had to work on a roof a lot, working on air handling units, things like that. But you would always see some extension cords on the scaffolding because there was never power up on the roof. So there was always some cords ran somehow, some way. And the big part of here, it's a big OSHA hazard, guys. Frequent tripping and electrocution dangers. They usually tie it off there at the bottom somewhere, which is keeping it elevated on that roof. Sometimes you got to step over it to get to it. Sometimes you don't. Depends on who ran that cord. But this causes a lot of trips and falls that are completely unnecessary. Have enough cord there so it can actually lay loose, things like that. And then the electrocution danger of that cord being wrapped around that metal. You don't want that, even like through studs, things like that, whenever, I know we're talking scaffolds, but you don't want them getting cut and stuff. So what we always did is we would use danger tape and caution tape, tie that to the metal rung on the scaffold, and then have your cord hanging in it loosely, because you can pull it and it'll pull away quickly, things like that. Because having the extension cords tied off to that scaffold that way also can cause scaffold instability, because when you're pulling on it, trying to get, I just need a little more reach, you're pulling on that scaffold too by pulling on that cord. So you got to think about that. Back in 2023, a 15-foot fall occurred when a lead died trying to avoid tangled cords. It cost the firm $50,000. And that's where I was saying, like the cord's tied up and they're trying to step over it. Well, guess what? It's not just one crew working up there. There's 5 crews working up there. So there's 5 cords all tied up there. And you're trying to avoid that to get to the scaffold to get on it, because that's the only access. Just don't cut yourself short. You've got to try to keep cord management on the top end of things. It's real big, especially on big job sites. You get a lot of people that start cruising, and you've got to watch out for those things. Some great setups. Mount reels overhead if you can. It's not always feasible, and I understand that. But downstrung to the power, to power the tool directly. From overhead. And that's possible sometimes. I used to work on a lot of roofs, is where I would typically see a lot of scaffolds, but inside buildings, things like that, a reel would be great. If you can feed power up a completely different way, up around a column, something like that, near a column, and then bring it overhead is a smart way to do it. A good way nowadays, though, honestly, use battery tool hubs. There's so many different ways to get power in different places. You can charge solar banks. You can do different things to get powers in all these locations. You don't have to have a cord necessarily tied off to a scaffold anymore. Figure out the right way to do it. A good crew culture here is to start your shift with a cord check. Okay. And typically I didn't have to start them with it, because whenever the day before, when I would roll up the cord, was my cord check. I always tried to feel for nicks and frays, things like that. But you want to make it visible in the toolbox talk logs so that people know, did you check your cord this morning? Man, yeah, I did. Look, that box is checked. We've got it. We've tracked it. We've done it. And the best way to inspect a cord is to take your gloves off. Yeah, your hands might get a little dirty, but you'll be safer in the long run. And it's the best way to actually test a cord, to find any nicks and frays that may have some issues. Man, we got Matt in here this morning. Good morning, Squirt. How are you doing? Missed out yesterday. Had a lift station go down. Whew. And now today, waiting for the lift truck to get here to pull these pumps. Yes, sir. I've dealt with some lift stations, not quite the ones that y'all have to. But definitely makes for an interesting day. And yeah, getting pumps out of a pit is definitely a tough thing to do sometimes, because they're typically not small pumps. All right, so let's move on in here to new construction and prefab wall systems. Now, we've been talking about these a lot, but this is honestly more about which prefab walls are actually saving time on the job. And it's super important. There's some different prefab types. You've got SIPs, structural insulated panels. They have a high R value. They're quick install. I've dealt with some buildings that had this done on it. It's a great way to do it. That was mainly for a big, they built airplanes in it. I wouldn't quite call it a hangar because it was a manufacturing plant, but they built airplane parts in there. So it was really cool. But I've dealt with a lot of these pre-insulated panels to throw up on buildings for sure. You had to get with the panel guy before cutting any penetration multiple times before you could actually cut it. It was a wonderful time. Also, like metal stud kits with pre-installed conduits. Okay, for commercial MEP, this thing is great. It's going to save on install time on the actual job where your crews are actually stacked. Instead, you can have it built in a warehouse down the street where they're building the walls, and you've got an electrician there that's throwing in the conduits that you need everywhere to have it all ready to go, and you just make the little connections. So that's definitely saving a lot of time on a job. A bunch of the developer benefits here. It reduces waste. Okay. There's fewer on-site labor hours. Typically fewer on-site labor hours means less safety issues also, which turns out to be a better job in the long run. So don't forget about that part. But fewer on-site labor hours, tighter panels. Okay. Tighter panels equals better energy efficiency. And whenever it's all pre-built this way and getting it sucked in tight, it's a great way to do the build. And it's pretty quick to save a lot of time. And having that insulation already pre-built in there so they don't have to come through and spray that stuff later is so nice for everybody on the job. And it makes for a much cleaner install also, I feel like personally. But a good field tip here, contractors must verify that the MEP stub locations before the wall install. And it is so important. I ran a lot of big pipe that went through a bunch of these walls. So they were always questioning everything I was doing because I would have to figure for insulation, things like this. Sometimes they would make me cut the hole big enough for the insulation, depending on the line. Sometimes they wanted it cut to pipe size and insulate up to that insulated wall panel because the insulation there was good enough, depending on what it was. So you've got to verify everything before the wall goes in, before you cut holes, because they don't like whenever you cut a bad hole in a panel, you will be paying for it. You got to coordinate with framing at least 3 days in advance. Guys, I always try to stay 1 to 2 weeks ahead on things like that so that everybody kind of knew where I was going, where I was headed, things like that. But bare minimum 3 days, because they have to know it's coming. It's not that last minute. Oh, you are putting that in? Oh, hey, don't forget I got this over there. No, you should have told us that days ago. You'll have to pay for us to come in here and fix that for you. So stay ahead of things and try to stay on top of stuff, because lots of moving parts on a construction site for sure. You can also boost this with tech. Use AR apps to overlay MEP run the plans on actual site walls during the installs. We talk robots a lot, guys. I saw a really cool one. It prints the drawings on the floor. Me being a major mechanical room builder, oh my gosh, if I could have just had a little robot draw the mechanical room on the floor as it was shown on the prints for me, dude, that would like replace an apprentice pretty much quickly just for the layout. You would know it's accurate too, and it would pass through to everybody. So I think that's pretty cool. You can also, use the augmented reality apps so that you can actually see the piping, things like that. We talk about the 3D modeling a lot, where you can actually, do a job walk from right here. And we could go through and actually walk through a job site and cruise through the whole thing, see above the floor, in the walls, outside of the walls, hide things, make things disappear so that you can just see right through it. It's pretty cool when you take a building and just blow the roof off the top, but guess what? You didn't tear nothing up. Kind of a fun time. Miss Lori in here. Good morning. Hope you are doing wonderful this wonderful Taco Tuesday. It'll be a good one for sure. So mindset growth, small wins, big results. The reset framework. Okay. And there's times in a day you have to back up and reset. And whether it's you're getting frustrated with something, you've looked at it too long, you can't get it right for some reason, whatever that is. I've been stuck in that situation multiple times. You know, a good reset framework, minute one, pause and take a breath. Okay. Back things up. Relax for a minute because I know you've been pissed. Chill. Next minute, snap a pic of the problem for reference. Okay. And I love this because we used to not be able to just snap a picture of the problem. I would just have to walk away from it completely. Okay. Minute 3 is set one small fixed goal. If you could do one thing that's going to get you closer to where you're trying to get, you can do that. Or you can do something completely different. Oh, let me go lay out this part. Oh, let me go install a couple hangers for that next piece. Let me install whatever it is, something small, something simple. But this is going to interrupt all the negative mental spirals that you were dealing with, trying to fight that issue and get through it. And it's also going to keep your stress from cascading even worse. But that interruption, stepping away for a minute, going for a quick walk, running out to the pisser, whatever. When you come back and reapproach it, it typically solves itself. And not realistically solve itself, but it's like every piece starts to fall right into place like it really should have a few minutes ago. But you were so frustrated with it that you weren't sure what was really going on. Can't pay attention. Good morning. Obviously, I can't either necessarily. Roger's out cruising, guys. He is at Skills USA today. Just so y'all know, checking out some competition, watching these youngsters compete in the trades. So definitely supporting that. He will tune in tomorrow for sure, live from Skills USA. But a good example on this is one HVAC tech solved a blown compressor in 2.5 hours rather than 5 because he reset the day and he focused. And guys, that's just it right there. That 2.5 hours he saved by backing up, clearing his head again, and reapproaching the problem and reset. That's a big one in leak detection. You will get out there. You will get so frustrated with things. You're not going to know what to do. You're going to go back to step 1 and start fresh and listen and do the process. You're going to find the leak. But you have to back up and reset sometimes because you're too hung up in yourself out there in the middle of it. Reset and start back. That's what you need to do sometimes. But teach your crew this method. It improves morale and decision-making. If you're on a job that has multiple crews, go help another crew for a few minutes. Hey, y'all got something I could do for a minute? I've just got to clear my head. Guess what? I have somebody comes up. Yeah, here, the next thing my apprentice is going to do is this. Why don't you do that for a minute? Take them back to the apprentice. That completely interrupts their thinking because guess what? Then you're just back to this simple, easy task to clear that brain, back to that apprentice. And then you're going to go reapproach that problem again with a clear mind, and it's going to be able to keep you on track. Let's see, Matthew Trevino. Sometimes it's as simple as adjusting body position. And that's for sure with a lot of different things. Sometimes you just got the wrong perspective on it. Hello from Hot Atlanta. Well, It was pretty warm here yesterday myself. We got Roger in here hanging out up there doing Skills USA, like I was saying just a few minutes ago. Glad to see you tuning in. We'll probably have you live from there tomorrow. Matthew Trevino says, hey, Roger. And everybody, happy Tuesday, Taco Tuesday once again. You know, Dad in here hanging out. Yeah, I know you like that preaching. That's something that you have to do quite often when you work for Roger. You've got to clear your head again from your frustrations before you go in and talk to him, or it might get you. But guys, we would like to thank our sponsor, League Pro, for sponsoring the episode of the Trade Talks. I get to come in here, hang out an hour. Usually Roger's with me hanging out, but you know, he's out cruising the world today, headed up to support the trades in a different way. And we love to hear that. But Leak Pro builds the most precise leak detection system for professional plumbers. And guys, I always suggest checking out the complete kit. It comes with both pieces of equipment that we build. I build a probe, which is a T-handle style with a solid block of aluminum up top. It's got a stainless steel rod, which is real durable for probing in and out of the ground. This is what we really prefer for that meter to the home service, irrigation lines, things like that. But also, if you've got a leak that's under a slab, that driveway, sidewalk, slab under the home, you're going to want the Sidekick. Sidekick is the pistol grip style with an aluminum rod on it. And that aluminum rod, it's a less dense metal, so it enhances that sound even more. That's why we prefer it whenever you're listening through concrete, because it's like it eliminates that concrete layer for you so that you can hear the leak underneath. So definitely check out the complete kit at www.leak-pro.com. And guys, if you're not familiar with how to do leak detection, give me a call, because I offer a 2-day in-person training here just outside of Dallas, Texas. I've got a slab out there with 11 leaks under it to train you on. We go through, we start doing line locating first so that you know where everything is. Like I tell a lot of guys, it's like taking a big round hay bale, turn it into a square hay bale, because all those square inches, now you're only looking at these. But then we teach you how to use our equipment to help dwindle that hay bale down to just a little handful of hay so that you can find that needle. So give me a call at 1-8888-LEAK-PRO. I'd be happy to discuss that training. But also, guys, I teach you I've got a couple sewer systems set up. Cast iron and a PVC. Teach you how to go through that double clean out and do isolation testing to determine exactly where a sewer line's leaking, so that it's not like, oh, I got to replace your whole sewer system. It's, oh, I've tested everything, and you've got one bad branch line on the whole system that does need to be replaced. So if you want to find out how to do that, give me a call, 1-8888-LEAK-PRO, and I'd be happy to discuss the equipment or the training with you and how we could add leak detection to your business. All right, moving on into all trades. Shared tight job site space. Coordination strategies. And guys, you really have to do this, because like I've worked in so many mechanical rooms. I love when I have a big, nice mechanical room. There's plenty of space. There's not too much. Guys, those are pretty much gone now, because now they try to take 10 pounds and push it in a 5-pound bucket, and we're going to make it fit somehow. Here's how you're going to layer it. Here, we're going to build you platforms to mount some stuff on so that we can cram more in this space. And that's how it really feels sometimes. Whenever you're doing a mop sink or something like that, you've got the electrician trying to get in there, the plumber trying to get in there and do that. You're the wall guy. You've got so many people trying to get in this itty bitty space. It's just a mop closet, guys. There's not that much room. We can't all three be in here on the same day. So you're going to have to come up with some coordination strategies. You can adopt a red line zone on site plans to designate space. Electricians, this is big because you don't want anything within 3 feet of the cabinet. Show that on a drawing. Have a red box on your drawing showing everybody, look, nothing can be here. from this space. Now, if there's a height limitation to it, make sure that that's clearly marked on there also. But do that to designate the space that you have to have by code, by whatever. Also, you can use cloud-based layout planners to prevent any overlap. And that's just like we talk about a lot, where everybody's tied to the same electronic drawings so that everybody sees it. Everybody's tied together, and it's not everybody claiming the same space. It's going to show you all that really quick if everybody's working off of the same set of cloud-based drawings. Communication ritual, have a daily 5-minute staging call. Okay. Hey, who all's here? What do they need? Where they're going to be in 2 hours. That's what you need to know, where they're at, what's their process, where are they at in that process. Okay, in 2 hours, are you going to be done? Are you going to be close? You can be halfway done. Where are you going to be so that I can kind of plan around that? I can remember working on Parkland Hospital. I was the fitter running all my chilled water and heating water lines. I had a med gas plumber coming from the other end of the corridor that was going to hang underneath mine. And he tried to turn the corner the same day. He's like, oh man, I got to be here. I said, well, I got to be here too. Let's talk about this. So we came up with a great solution. He found another project to work on. He gave me 3 days. He's like, look, I can give you 3 days. I've got another thing that I have to do and get done, and an area. I can give you 3 days over here, but that's it. Like, is 3 days really going to be enough? It's like, look, we will make it enough. I'm going to go ahead and build my hangars trapeze style, and I'm going to leave you enough rod so that when you come through, all you got to do is add your strut and run your lines. Oh, you're going to do that? Yes. Give me my 3 days. Okay, no problem. 3 days later, we were tacking up that last freaking piece on that last run. And he's like, oh my gosh, 3 days, you did it. Look, I knew how much I had. I knew where I would have to be and what I could actually accomplish in the hours I still had to do that in that 3 days. And it's like, look, that's all I need. I'm going to be humping it. We're going to be pushing it the whole way to get there, but we are going to make it, and we'll be out of your way, ready for you to come through and do your part. Because we're all trying to get the job done, guys. And that's the key, is communication, knowing how long do you need to be there. Okay, well, I really got to be there too. I need you to know this is urgent. So whatever you tell me, I'm going to hold to, but you got to be ready. And that's the key here. Good field result here. An electrical trades crew avoided $8,000 in reruns by mapping shared chase space and confirming the measurements. And like that just helps support what I was just saying. Look, you give me the days, I'm going to go ahead and make my hangars robust enough to hold both of our piping systems, and it's going to be ready for you just to come through and fly even more. You're not even going to have to put hangars up. Every journeyman and apprentice loves to hear that, because man, now I ain't even got to think about it. You're just going to go ahead and do a lot of my work for me. I'm going to give you the time that you need. No problem. And we made it happen. So really good. Let's see. We're going to move on to laws and licenses here. And we're going to talk one of Dad's favorite ones here, with supporting the other trades. Definitely so. Always trying to support all the trades so we can get jobs done. But license reciprocity. What's new, guys? 6 states are adopting full or partial reciprocity, making it easier for trades to cross state lines without expensive retesting. If you have been to this channel before, you know we love to see this. We want national licenses somehow, some way, with whatever endorsements or whatever we need to create for this. Let's do it. Let's make it happen. So these state lines are a whole lot easier, because the work does not change that much. So I love to see more states headed towards this. Now, some good rules to know here. Reciprocity does not equal endorsement. Like I was just saying, if you need that extra add-on, that's fine. It's just an extra part that you got to get so that they know you're ready for that area, that endorsement. You can do that work. You're trained for it. It's not equal to endorsement. Insurance and registration still required, no matter what state you're in, guys. You've got to be registered and you've got to have insurance in those areas. It's different when you cross a state border. You have to get a whole different plan and agreement for that, unless you have multi-state coverage on your plans. But you're still going to have to register at all the new states, things like that. But states that are actually on board are states like Georgia, Florida, Texas, Arkansas, Ohio, and Mississippi. It's spreading, and this is what I really love to see, is more states jumping on this wagon, because we understand, and it's a good thing. But a good tip here is, if you're expanding out of the state, of your state, where you're at, where you're registered, where you're all set, your home base, verify the new state's reciprocity equivalent before bidding on any work. And I was an industrial estimator, and we were doing some of the different states we would bid on. I bid on Oklahoma, New Mexico, Phoenix, some different things. And one of the major things I had to do is go through and verify, can I bid there? If I get us a job here, can we actually, do we have the manpower to run the job? I know that, yeah, I was in the union, so we can get some local union guys to go out there and work. But boss, that's not anybody from here running it. So we would have to reach a union agreement also that we would have to think about and talk to make sure that we could send our guys to run the job, but we would use their guys for all the labor and the installs and stuff. So there were extra hoops for us being union to jump through to figure out if we could actually bid. But you've got to figure out, do you have a license there? Are you covered? Are you legally working there if you get that job? Know it before you even try to chase it. Because, sometimes leading us right into business training is you have to say no to some jobs. But you got to be confident in knowing when to say no. And if you're not licensed in the state and there's no reciprocity, it's easy to say no with confidence, knowing that you can't bid that job or do that work. And the dad over there, yeah, another one of his favorites is reciprocity. Definitely so. Like, we talk about it a lot. Wish there was a national license for each and every trade to make this easier for all of us. We just want to get out there and put in the work. That's what most of us in the trades enjoy doing. Each mechanical room I built was great. So being able to say no with confidence, guys. Okay. And the reason that this actually helps, it avoids poor fitting jobs that drain resources and threaten brand integrity. Like whenever I worked at one of the largest MEP companies in Texas, back when I was estimating, we knew what our sweet spot was. It's like, look, any job in this range, we love those jobs. We make the most profit on them. It's perfect. Anything under, we typically don't make near as much. Anything larger than this, we typically don't make as much. This is our sweet spot. So there were times that there were a lot of jobs we were bidding in that sweet spot. So we were saying no to other jobs. Why? Because we knew we had way better chances on all these other projects. So it was worth spending our time on those more. But a good thing to do to help qualify some of these things that you can train your office on. What's the timeline? Okay. Because I worked on a lot of design builds too, and you've got to figure that out. When are they trying to actually have that building built? When does everything have to be complete? When are you starting? Is that really enough time for me to get the job done or not? If it's not enough time, it's easy to go. No, nope, we can't do that job because I don't need that bad. That negative review griping that we didn't get it done in time, but we said we could. So when you have to say no and make it clear on to why. Also, another good question, do you have the permits and blueprints? This is real big for us being design build, things like that. It's like, I've got to know, are all these covered? Do I need to cover it? What needs to be covered? Because you don't want that scope creep, that gap. You need to know if everything's ready for you to proceed forward. Are there blueprints so that you can actually do a layout and a takeoff and figure out what your true costs are to be able to bid it? Also a good one. Are you willing to prioritize build quality or the price? You know, which one? And we had to figure that out a lot because anybody that was going for price on us, we were not going to get the job. I was never the cheapest. Something that Dad always talks about. I don't want to be the cheapest plumber in the city. No, that is not what I want to be known for. We were not the cheapest MEP company out there, but our build quality was next level than most. So you need to know that up front whenever you're bidding. Look, which part do you give on? The quality, or are you just looking for that lowest price that comes through that says they have everything and you're just going to go with that no matter what? Because I had some customers that lost $1 million because they went with price. They didn't clarify that up front. I'd gotten many jobs there before, so I was kind of surprised. And I told them, look, whoever bid that, they missed half the work because their bid was less than half of mine. And it's like, look, just to get the pipe you want from the company you want, it's half of their bid. And then they're going to bring tanks and do all this and add all this other stuff. There's no way. So make it clear and try to figure out what it is before you even turn your bid in, because sometimes, like I'm saying, if you know you're not the cheapest guy and they're looking for the cheapest guy, it's not worth you wasting your efforts of trying to get that job. And a good decline script here that you could use. Look, thank you for thinking of us. Unfortunately, we aren't the right fit for your needs right now. But could I offer you or refer you to somebody who is? And kind of have an idea of who the cheapest is in town. Most of the time you're going to know who you've lost bids to because their price was just way lower. And if not, ask your estimators at your company. Most of them know who the cheapest guy in town is. And just kind of know that. Have it fed in. A good result here. Reduced workload by 12%, letting the crew focus on better clients. And that's the key, guys, is it reduced the workload. Like if we get that bigger job, that's more man hours, that's all this stuff, and the company makes less money on all those hours. Now, we would love to have a few of those core jobs around so that if some things were slow, you had that to lean on to also. And send guys too. Yeah, we weren't going to make as much money on that job. We knew that because of how many hours we're going to get spent on it, which means you can send somebody out there doesn't know the job. They can plug in, do some things for a few days while they're waiting on their job to open up. So always good to kind of have around. Miss Lori, so important to know how different states operate. Definitely so. And you know, like we talk about it a lot. It's like, look, whenever you live really close to that state line, you've got to know all the limits. Can you work across that border or not? The customer who wants the cheapest price is usually the biggest pain in the butt. I pretty much agree 100%, because a lot of them are tough to deal with sometimes. But sometimes it's just their situation. Some of them just want that cheap guy because they can't afford that top guy, and they're just going to deal with whatever crap they get. So that's just kind of how it goes, I guess. But let's move on in here to specialty data cabling. Okay, something a little different here. Cat 6 versus fiber. Okay. Hate to say, I actually know a little bit about this stuff, even just being a pipe fitter. I run all of our Cat 6 here, and reason I went with Cat 6 was it actually furnishes power also. But Cat 6 Essentials, it'll handle 1 gig to 10 gigs in under 100 M. Flexible and easy to pull. And this, I will agree to. So easy to pull. I was pulling from one end of this building to the other. I probably have some good 100-foot pulls that I pulled through the attic around here. And it's pretty easy to pull. It doesn't snag up a lot. It's pretty smooth, which was really nice. Now, this is ideal for business offices, home theaters, security cameras, things like that. Okay. Now, if you need to run further than 100 meters out, you're going to want to go to fiber. Now, fiber use cases, it's needed for runs over 100 meters, high demand audio video environments. Luckily, we don't feed a lot through our stuff that way. Most of ours is recorded, but a lot of the audio video environments, you go to fiber. Remote broadband setups. Okay. If you're remote, you're going to have fiber, and that's what you're going to want to go with. Now, good install tips, always snake in conduit, even for Cat 6. It prevents future breaks. Now, whenever I penetrated where our main server is and everything, I went ahead and installed a sleeve there, a conduit, for all those penetrations to come through, because I don't know how many freaking wires I've got coming through there. It's a lot of Cat 6 though. But I knew that doing that, it's going to be less stress on the cables, things like that. But it also, I give myself a big enough conduit that I could feed multiple lines through. So it was really nice. And a good thing to do here, whenever you are running any of these cables and doing them yourself, pre-test the cables, label both ends before you actually terminate it, and do it on a semi-permanent thing so that it's actually labeled nice and neat and pretty. A good revenue edge here. Structured cabling can add 25 to 35% margins on versus typical service calls. A good example here is a plumber brought in 4K extra revenue with basic Cat 6 runs under a home automation contract. Now, that's where this is really going to feed in a lot. Everything's headed to smart homes, smart everything. Everything's going to talk to everything because of the Internet of Things. Cat 6 is very good to learn how to do. It's not very difficult. It's pretty simple to follow. Actually, I think one night in the union training in our basic electricity class, we had a substitute come in that actually knew how to do the cables and plugs and do all that, the crimpers and everything. And he brought it in. And he's like, hey, figure y'all may want to learn how to do this. And I was very intrigued because I came up during the start of the internet. So I was very intrigued by that. And it's like, man, yes, I will definitely be running some of those somewhere. But I also used to build computers way back too. So definitely intrigued me. Very useful skill to have in your pocket. And it's not very hard to do. So get out there and kind of check it out. All right. Now let's move into social media spotlight. Oh, we've got welding today, you know. Just another wonderful Taco Tuesday. So today, guys, we've got welding tips and tricks. It's been a little while. 1.11 million subs. That just makes my brain happy to see that many ones together. That's a lot of subs also. Watching a welder. Imagine that, guys. Something I'm always telling everybody in here, show off your trade. Okay. And clear arc shots and plain talk to help you pass a test, fix stuff, build stuff, get a raise, build a better life. I like pipe fitting. I like using welder as a tool in my bucket, but welders are great to have. And guys, Jody over here is getting close to 250,000 views, 242,746,000. Cruising right along, moving up. And guys, some of the reasons that I actually like this channel, Jody delivers no nonsense MIG and TIG weld demos, tool reviews, and real life technique stories. And that's the key to it, guys, is get out there and do something. Learn. Okay. One of my apprentices, I remember one day asked me, he's like, how did you get to be so good? And I said, look, whenever I was an apprentice, when I first got in, I was always like, stick me with that old man. He's got more experience than anybody on this job. He's going to let me do more things than anybody on this job. And he knows I'm not just trying to take his job. I'm trying to learn what he does and learn from them. Get in here and learn some stuff, guys. Some of the top lessons he's got: proper angle and weld speed. And I used to remember when that sounded like gibberish too. But the angle for, like, we did rod whenever I was first learning, and your travel speed, your arc gap, your angle of your rod, all this stuff matters so much. When you're first starting, you don't understand that. I didn't until old Joe Kelly come up and grabbed my hand one day and kind of let me feel what to do and see how it's supposed to look. In that 5 seconds, it was like, whoa. Now I understand what he means by rod angle, the travel speed, and all this stuff. But you can watch his 90 versus 45 degrees MIG test to kind of get an idea on this as to how it actually matters. Very consistent. He's always on here posting. Love to see that. He's been getting a little more here lately. Let's see. So the oldest, let's go figure out. 17 years ago. My goodness. Man. Dad, I see you in there welding. What about plumbers? Because he's been on YouTube longer than the plumbers. I'm sorry. This guy's been on here 17 years putting out stuff. That's what I'm talking about. Now that's somebody who's been using YouTube. Popular. 18 million views from 12 years ago. See, he's been around a while. TIG welding, stainless steel, walking the cup versus TIG finger. And I used to not understand what any of that meant. Walking the cup's great, and that's just part of TIG. It's the hand motion. You can see it there as that quickly rotates around. He's moving this around, and he's walking this cup. But you can also do fingers. I've learned that you can do just by hand, freehand TIG welding. Blew my mind the first time I saw that. He's actually got a lot here from a while back that have some serious views. Really freaking cool. But oh, yeah, see, there's walking the cup versus freehand. And there you go. Yeah, that's a pretty, I love that view. Okay, but cleaning before the welding, he shows how mill scale causes blowouts and how important it is to get your pipe clean before you ever start strike an arc on it or start welding two pieces together, it's got to be cleaned and prepped right. Luckily for most of the welders I ever had, that all fell on me, the fitter, to get it all ready, cleaned, and prepped the way it actually has to be to do things. But encourage your apprentice to mimic one video daily. Tell them to try the new techniques and styles. That was one of my favorite things to do, because I would have those days that you had a long day on the job and then you go into school that night and you just don't feel like welding. Well, I talked to my instructor to figure out what to do. You know, he's like, look, I just need you in there doing something. Strike an arc, do some sort of welding. So I would try to figure out different techniques. I'd ask different welders on the job, different step styles, figure eights, butterflies. Like, there's so many different things that I learned. And it's like, let me just try some of those. Well, guys, now it's on YouTube. All the different techniques, styles, different things that you can do, freehand, all that. There's videos out there. Get out there and find them. Study on it. Focus on one hand motion or torch angle. Torch angle is so important. When I was pipe fitting, it's one of the things, like, a lot of guys used to ask me, how do you cut so well? It's like, well, I saw a guy that cut perfect, and I went up and asked him, hey, how do you cut so well? Wait, really? I said, yeah. And I'm going to tell you the same thing you told me. Which part of that flame are you using to line up on your mark? And are you putting a big fat mark on that pipe to cut, or a thin, precise line? So I started super filing down my soapstone, putting the thinnest line possible, and picking one little flame from that star that comes out, picking one and putting that on my line. Then I started cutting perfect almost every time. One tip can change everything that you do in your future without you even knowing it, guys. So get out here, explore, find some new things, some different tips, techniques. Try some new stuff. Don't just stick with what you brought up on. Like I was saying earlier, you know, most people stick with the first company that they were hired in on because they're the ones that taught them. And I understand that, but it's great to go learn from others. And I love that social media is here now because we can actually hop on there and learn from others so well. Touched by the hand of a welding god. That's it, man. Like, for sure. And I'm sure that is Joe Kelly. That man had so many certs in his pocket. I loved it. It was great to learn a lot of pipe fitting from him. Very experienced, and it was good. Helped learn a lot of tricks in the clean room area, still dealing with dirty welding. So it was really cool to learn a lot of stuff from Joe. Everybody, thank you for showing up. I'm so glad that you were here. Happy Taco Tuesday once again. I'm going to try to find me some pretty good tacos tonight, I think. Me and the kiddo will have fun. But happy Tuesday, everybody. We do want to thank Leak Pro for sponsoring today's episode of the Trade Talks. They build the most precise leak detection system for professional plumbers. And I always suggest checking out the complete kit. It's a business in a box. It comes with both pieces of equipment to cover you for indoor and outdoor leak detection. So check out the complete kit at www.leak-pro.com. If you're not familiar with how to do leak detection, give me a call because I offer a 2-day in-person training where I'll teach you how to locate lines, pinpoint locate leaks under a slab, outside of the slab, even determine where a sewer system is leaking. So give me a call at 1-8888-LEAK-PRO. I'd be happy to discuss the equipment or the training and how we can add this and market it in your local area so that you're getting those leak detection calls in your neighborhood. So everybody, thank you for showing up. Oh yeah, look, everybody, Dad says, thanks for keeping me in line today. I try. Great job today. Always love the research you do to help educate us. And that is what this show is all about. Everybody, thanks for showing up this wonderful Tuesday. Hope to see you here tomorrow for Hump Day. Yes, Dad, tomorrow is Wednesday. Everybody, Get out there and hit it effing hard because you know we're going to. See you tomorrow. Bye.